Ja, schönen guten Nachmittag, herzlich willkommen zu unserem kleinen Webinar Recht auf Reparatur. Ich warte noch mal eine Minute, bis sich alle Teilnehmenden eingewählt haben und dann legen wir los. So, jetzt wählen sich langsam die Teilnehmenden ein. Ich starte einfach schon mal mit einer kleinen Einführung, einem kleinen Hallo, bis dann wirklich alle dabei sind. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Webinar von der Europagruppe Grüne zum Recht auf Reparatur. Mein Name ist Anna Cavazzini, ich bin grüne Europaabgeordnete und Vorsitzende des Ausschusses für Binnenmarkt und Verbraucherschutz, dem federführenden Ausschuss zu diesem Dossier. Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir Didier Reynders gewinnen konnten, den eben zuständigen Kommissar für Justiz und Verbraucherschutz, der heute das Recht auf Reparatur vorgelegt hat. Und wir wollen in diesem Webinar einfach die Möglichkeit geben, wirklich aus erster Hand zu erfahren, was ist in dem Vorschlag eigentlich drin und auch Fragen an den Kommissar und vielleicht auch gegebenenfalls an mich, wenn die grüne Haltung interessiert ist, zu stellen vom Publikum. Vielleicht noch ein paar Housekeeping-Informationen am Anfang. Das Webinar wird aufgezeichnet, aber Sie als Zuschauerin tauchen darin nicht auf. Die Fragen können Sie jetzt schon, aber auch im Laufe des Webinars in diesen Q&A-Box einstellen. Der Chat ist eher gedacht für technische Informationen, also die Fragen bitte an den Q&A-Chat und dort könnt ihr auch die Fragen ranken, sodass wir dann am Ende sehen, die Fragen, die an meisten Leute interessieren, die werden wir dann vortragen. Wir haben insgesamt so 30 bis 45 Minuten angesetzt, je nachdem auch, wie viele Fragen am Ende kommen, wie viel Interesse besteht. Und ja, wie Sie vielleicht auch schon sehen, gibt es Übersetzung. Ich werde gleich auch ins Englische übergehen, um direkt mit dem Kommissar zu sprechen. Sie kennen das ja wahrscheinlich aus unzähligen Webinaren. Es gibt ja diese Weltkugel, da kann man die Sprache irgendwie einstellen und ja, dann geht's auch schon los. Ja, dear Commissioner Reynders, I'm very happy that you're taking the time today in this very busy day you must have. You presented the right to repair. It was a long-standing call also from the European Parliament, also from us Greens in the European Parliament. And I have to say, we are very, very happy that it is there because I think it will be a game changer for the consumers, but also for the climate. We are very interested in hearing what is in the proposal. So without further ado, I would like to give you the floor and yeah, listen to your presentation.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anna, first of all, for this invitation, to have the opportunity to explain what we are doing with the decision of this morning in the Commission. And ladies and gentlemen, I will try to explain the initiative of the Commission to promote repair and reuse of goods. I know that it's a very sensitive issue, and sometimes we have had many debates on this, and so we try to come with a new element in a puzzle of different legislations that we put into place to reach the goal of the repair of products. With the ambitious proposal that we have decided today, the Commission has to deliver on the objectives of sustainable consumption and circular economy that we had put forward in the European Green Deal. It was the beginning of the mandate of the Commission with, as a first decision, the Green Deal. And the logic of this proposal is very simple. We want to encourage consumers to use their goods longer by having them repaired. It is the final piece, I said, of a series of measures designed to put in place a right to repair in European law. Indeed, this proposal should be seen together with other initiatives. From the beginning, I've said also to the European Parliament that we will organize the right to repair with different legislative initiatives. And together, of course, we have a real possibility to promote the repair. First, we proposed new rules to make sure that there are more and more repairable products on the market. A year ago, the Commission proposed a new regulation on what we call eco-design for sustainable products. The eco-design proposal focuses on the production phase. It aims to extend the lifetime of products so that it becomes a regular practice to design products that are more durable and fit for reuse, refurbishment, and repair. This means that, for example, an obligation for a producer to make spare parts or repair manuals available for certain categories of goods, such as smartphones or tablets, is in the text. So we have now such an obligation for the disponibility of spare parts and the availability also for the different repair manuals. Second, we propose to empower consumers to make sustainable choices. Also, a year ago, at the same moment, in March last year, the Commission proposed new rules to provide consumers with better information on durability and repairability of products at the point of sale. All these initiatives are complementary. On the one hand, we want products to be designed as repairable. On the other hand, we want to help European consumers to choose products that are repairable in an informed way and to avoid misleading practices in this regard. And so today, we are going further. And today's proposal is filling the gap and will regulate the after-sales phase once the product is bought, with the objective to have these products used longer. That means that we try to continue to use the same product, not without the possibility to go to repair. We aim to address an issue which has significant consequences for the environment. The fact that consumers, in most cases, do not repair their products when they are defective or when they are not functional anymore. Such premature disposal is currently too common. It triggers growing waste, further demand for resources, and additional production of greenhouse gas emissions. This is often due to the fact that consumers are not properly informed about possibilities for repair, and that access to repair services is often too difficult. To tackle this, we aim to make repair easier and more attractive. First, within the legal guarantee, the 2 years period that we all know for all kinds of products, sellers would have the obligation to repair the product. Replacement by a new product would only be possible if repair is more costly or impossible for technical reasons, but the obligation will be to provide repair. Currently, nearly 2/3 of consumers prefer replacement to repair when given the choice. We want to change this and prioritize repair, as in most cases, it represents the best choice for the environment. Second, beyond the legal guarantee, the proposal puts forward measures aiming to make repair easier and more attractive and to strengthen consumer rights. We notably tackle obstacles that dissuade consumers from repair. Currently, consumers are too often confronted with low transparency on availability and conditions of repair, and to inconvenience in the repair process. We therefore aim to create new tools to make repair services more accessible and transparent for all goods. We propose an online matchmaking repair platform that will allow consumers to find suitable repairers and sellers of refurbished goods at national level. So in all the member states, we're asked to have such a kind of platform to organize the real access for the consumers to the different actors involved in the repair or in the refurbished of products. We also propose a new European repair information form to bring transparency on repair conditions and price. This would also facilitate the comparison of repair services and enhance competition on the repair market. In fact, we're asked to provide information about the price of repair, the conditions, the delay, and if it's possible to have the disposal of another kind of good during the duration of the repair. So there are different conditions, and it's possible to ask to the company involved in the repair process. And of course, it will be possible for the consumer to compare the situation between different actors, because we'll give 30 days to decide about what kind of actor you will choose for the repair. And we will develop a European quality standard for repair services to help consumers identify repairers who take certain quality commitments. So it's so important for the consumers to know what are the commitments taken by the different actors in the repair market about the quality of the service and the quality of the product, in fact, after the repair. And finally, we propose an obligation for producers to repair goods that are technically repairable under EU law. So this would be the case for product categories which are subject to repairability requirements under European law, like a washing machine, a vacuum cleaner, or a TV. And more categories of products will be covered by such rules in the future, such as textile, for example. This means that producers of such goods will no longer be able to refuse to repair a product unless repair is technically, of course, impossible because the product is damaged. Producers may charge a price for such repair. This is normal, as they will have to deal with defects such as those caused by the consumer and by wear and tear. And for these categories of repairable goods, producers will be obliged to inform consumers about the availability of their repair services. This proposal is now in the hands of the EU co-legislators, the European Parliament and the Council. We are looking forward to the beginning of the interinstitutional negotiations. Of course, it will be possible for the member states to add some kind of elements to the proposal. I mean, just to give an example, if we want to give incentive for the repair, it's possible for the member states, it's already the case in some, to have a reduced VAT rate on repair. It's also possible to give some other financial incentive, but we don't organize that in the directive. It's a possibility for the member states to do that. It's also possible for the producers to do more. Of course, we are speaking about the legal guarantee, but it's all time possible for the producers to give a longer period of time for the guarantee about the products. It's also possible to give a better choice to the consumer, maybe to go to the replacement if there is a better product after some times, maybe in some months or in some years, than the repair. But here we try to come with an harmonization of a set of rules, and again, in a global package. And I'm confident that our proposal can bring significant benefits, as it will make repair easier and allow the repair market to grow. And you need to know that there are huge differences between the member states, because there are member states where the rate of repair, the percentage of consumers going to repair is very low. There are others with an old tradition to organize the repair for many products. And it's the reason why I said during the legal period of guarantee, there's only 1/3 of the consumers going to the repair, but maybe in some member states with a lower level, in others with a higher level. And we try to push to put pressure in the same way in all the member states. I'm thinking about benefits for consumers, notably better information and cost savings, but also benefits, I said, for the environment, reduction of waste, of greenhouse gas emission, and of demand for valuable resources, but also benefit for businesses. The new rules would encourage competition and create new jobs in the repair sector and lead to more sustainable business model. I know that there are some fears in some businesses to have a lower level of production of new goods because we are going to more and more repair. But if we are going to less new goods on the market, they will maybe build a new activity, the repair service, in their own company. It's also possible to go to an outsourcing of such an activity, but we try also to build a real ecosystem of many SMEs involved in the process, and so taking part in the repair process. Is the reason why I said that we ask to maintain the spare parts at the disposal of the consumers and the SMEs involved in the process for a long period of time. And we want to have a disclosure of information about the way to repair the different products to be sure that there's a real competition with different actors. And the combined impact of the European initiatives I mentioned will boost repair and sustainable consumption in the EU, which is another step towards a more sustainable economy. And today's proposal, I said, is the final piece of the puzzle that we need to deliver a right to repair from the design of the product, information of the Commission, obligation of the producers during the legal guarantee, and also different kind of obligations after the legal guarantee to give real access to the repair and to give a real opportunity for many actors to take part in the process. So I'm sure that we'll make some progress with the co-legislators on this. I want just to insist on the fact that we have 1 year in front of us to conclude the discussions in the Council, in the Parliament, and then the trilogues, because at the end of the first quarter next year, it will be the end of the period where it will be possible to have an agreement. So I'm hoping that it will be possible, because I have said at the beginning, I conclude with that I know that there are many proposals to do more. I've received, you know that, Anna, a lot of mails with some ideas. It was easy to read because it was all the time the same mail. So at the end, it was not so difficult to understand the proposals. But we have put on the table the eco-design proposal and the proposal to empower the consumer in the green transition 1 year ago. So again, if we want to reach an agreement in the next 12 months, we need to be aware that it will be needed to convince not only a majority in the Parliament, but also in the Council. And so I'm hoping that we will go on the right to repair faster than we have seen, certainly for the eco-design or the empowerment of the consumers in the green transition, and certainly faster than what I have seen on my proposal, you know that, on the due diligence on environment and human rights, because we have decided in the Commission to present a proposal on the due diligence in February last year, and I'm still waiting for the opinion of the Parliament. So I count on you to have a faster process, maybe in the Parliament, on this proposal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner, for this presentation. Of course, I take up this ball because we are sometimes slow in the European Parliament, but sometimes we're also waiting a very long time for the Commission to come up with a proposal. But I completely agree with you with the goal. I think it should be our common goal to have such an important proposal that will really make a change for the consumers before the next European elections. And I hope we can also speed up the process in the European Parliament. I allow myself 2 minutes for some quick reactions from a green perspective, but then I will immediately jump into the questions, because this is really the goal for today, that all of you, and we have almost 300 participants, so also that shows that the topic is of high interest for a lot of people. Yeah, already a lot of questions are being asked in the Q&A chat. Thank you very much for that. From my perspective, the proposal is really a good one, it's a solid one. I think it's really, really important that it is there. We all know the numbers. Only 20% of all the products are being repaired at the moment in the European Union, but most consumers say they want to repair their products. So we have to make it really easier for the consumers to repair the product. And this is especially important for the climate, but we also see with the war in the Ukraine how much we are dependent on imports of raw materials, and shrinking our huge raw material footprint is also a very important goal. And I think a lot of items you mentioned, dear Commissioner, that you put in the proposal are really important. Probably 2 things that are missing from the green perspective from my side are first, the repair index. You know that the Parliament has proposed this. This idea is floating around for a long time. France has it already implemented, because we think, okay, consumers also have to have a very quick decision-making help in the shop that tells them, okay, the product is easy to repair or not. Probably you can also say something of why you decided not to include it. And the second big item, and I know it's a huge item, but also, for example, consumer protection organizations and civil society were demanding that is basically a prolongation of the legal guarantee to really adapt it to the lifespan of a product and make sure that consumers have the chance of repairing their products in a cheaper way for a longer time, because at the end we hear, and also basically polls show this, that the financial burden is often a problem why consumers don't go to repair their products. So this is a very, very quick assessment from my side. I add now probably the first two questions, and then I give you the floor for first round of answers. So the first question that was also ranked quite high, I believe, is, in today's world, repair is usually more expensive for the producers than replacing the good. How can we make repair more cheaper? Any plans for VAT reduction? I guess difficult to implement on EU level, but if you can say something, or subsidies like a repair bonus. And then I also have a second question in German, but I can also translate it in English. Will all producers, independently of the product category, have the same obligations? So I start with these two questions and probably a short reaction to what I said, and then we go into the next round. Dear Commissioner.
No, thanks. First of all, maybe there are many discussions about, there were many discussions about the legal guarantee. And so I've said that we are working with the legal guarantee and then some obligations after the legal guarantee for the producers too. But we didn't decide to extend the period of legal guarantee because this would have a minimal positive impact on sustainable consumption and the environment. To be very concrete, nearly all non-conformity defects occur in the first 2 years. So we have an evaluation of 96 of non-conformity defects that occur in the 2 first years. And extending the length of the legal guarantee would thus be beneficial only for a few cases. I know that there were some ideas to make a link between the legal guarantee and the durability of the product. But to do that, you need to have a clear assessment and a clear commitment from the producers about the durability of the products. And you create, of course, a very huge uncertainty for all, for the businesses like for the consumers, because you don't know exactly, in general, what are the real consequences for one of another products. And so we have tried to maintain the situation with the same kind of approach for all the products. And I'm sure that it's better to work with such a situation, to don't have legal uncertainty for consumers and businesses. Of course, again, to try to indicate product by product a specific duration is very complicated. What is possible, again, is to organize some kind of incentives for the competition. You know that already now there are some producers providing a longer guarantee than the legal one. That's a choice from the producer. In the car industry, it's very frequent to see that. But that should be maybe more an incentive coming from the producer and the competition. Then about the repair index or different kind of other labels that it's possible to put into place. Of course, it's not the goal of this initiative to give a repair score to the different kind of products and the different kind of element that we have in the scope of the directive. So it's beyond the scope of this initiative, but we have a lot of other kind of initiatives in parallel. As the repairability score concerns technical aspects, it is developed in product-specific legislations, and under the eco-design that I've mentioned in my introductory remarks, and energy labeling legal framework, we have some indications about such a kind of score. The first products that are expected to benefit from an EU repairability score are smartphones and tablets. And you know that there are many questions about smartphones and tablets. So as committed in the eco-design working plan, the Commission is exploring the potential of introducing it for other products. So we'll start maybe with the most demanding products, a smartphone and tablets. It will be possible to go further. And in the proposal empowering consumers for the green transition, we ensure that consumers will receive information at the point of sale about the repairability of goods in form of a repairability score. So there are some indications, but not exactly an index, like you have said, or a score for all. And today's proposal does not focus on the point of sale, but on the after-sale phase. But again, you need to see the different pieces in the puzzle, and we'll explain that again in the presentation in your committee, in IMCO, but also with the Council. There are already some rules to have an index score. About the cost of the repair, in fact, and so the repair products, I want to say first that we will organize the entire process to go to a lower cost. The first example, again, is the eco-design. Of course, if you design the products in the way to organize the repair, it will be less costly to repair. I mean, a better access to the different parts in one good. It will be easier to organize the repair process. So for the companies involved in the repair, it will be easier to do that. The disclosure of the manuals in the same way. But what we have as a goal in the proposal is to use the competition, of course. So it will be possible for a company, a producer, to organize the repair by themselves. It's possible to go to an outsourcing to another company, but you will have also many, and certainly SMEs, able to take part in a new ecosystem. And what we are hoping that it will be possible to have a pressure on the cost due to the fact that you will have more and more actors. To give you an example, I've took the time, I don't know in Germany if it's the same situation, but in France, to give an example, there is a platform already to put together consumers and actors of the repair sector. And there are already more than 130,000 companies involved in the sector. So it's possible to make a comparison between different actors and to make a choice, of course, with one of the elements, the cost. Then I listened to the remark about the VAT. I said already an answer to that. It's true that it's possible for the member states to come with different incentives for the repair. Maybe a low level of VAT rate for the repair, some incentives to the consumer or to the SMEs involved in the process to do the same. So that will let a room for maneuver for the member states to invest in that. It's not the goal of our proposal. But so the reduction of the cost is due, first of all, to the eco-design and the way to design the products to facilitate the repair, but also due to the competition between many companies that we will have in the sector.
Thank you so much. I feel very tempted to also reply to some of the items, but I will directly go to the next questions that were put by the audience. So I have another question, and as basically we record the session, I will just not read out your names in order to have your privacy. So does the proposal do enough with regards to the right of redress for the final seller and ensuring the availability of spare parts for independent repairers? And then I have a question again in German, but I will translate it. Is the right to repair only for producers in the EU? What happens to products that are being produced outside of the EU and are being imported to the EU? For example, a television produced in China. Then probably we can still take a third question. It's again in German, so I will translate it. Yes. Most of the problems are related also to software. What are your solutions of non-provision of longer software updates? Probably I leave it here. We do a little round of answers and then we have more questions.
Mm-hmm. So maybe about the first one, so the requirements to access to spare parts, repair information and tools are included in product-specific eco-design legislation. So again, if we are looking to the different pieces in the puzzle, and the scope of such legislation will continue to grow. So it's already possible for independent repairers, including repair cafes, to give an example, and consumers themselves, to have an access to appropriate tools. So we'll continue to work on it to be sure that it's true. It must be possible to have an access to spare parts, and we have organized a process with a very long period. When it will, during the rich one, it will be very important to provide the spare parts. I'm thinking about different kind of products, but for a washing machine, it will be 10 years after the production of the last unit of one model of washing machine that will be needed to provide spare parts. So it's a long period of time after the end of the production of one product. I will say that for other kind of goods, it will be 7 years. But with that means that the producer will have to provide the spare parts. But again, in the ecosystem that we will have with many SMEs maybe involved in the process, we'll have also stocks in the different companies, in the repairers that we have. And so you will find maybe for a longer period of time, again, the spare parts. If there's a need to redress, not only we have a possibility to organize, of course, the redress, but we have also mentioned in the directive that it will be possible to use a collective redress. You know that we have a specific directive about the collective redress also for cross-border case. So if there are real problems with one company everywhere in Europe, it will be possible for the consumers to act together, not to be alone. And you know that it's due for a large part to the Dieselgate that we have now the necessity to help the consumers with such a collective redress at the level of cross-border case. About third countries, the obligation to repair also applies where the producer is established outside of the union. So we are moving in the same way that we have organized the process for the GDPR or for other kind of DSA and other regulations. So to be sure that we have a level playing field between EU companies and companies coming from third countries. And in order to enable consumers to turn to an economic operator established within the union, this directive foresees a sequence of alternative economic operators required to perform the obligation to repair of the producer. So if you have a company coming from third country, the economic operators are the first the authorized representative, so we ask to have a representative in the EU, then the importer, and finally the distributor. So if you don't have a direct access to the producer in a third country, we have a sequence with a responsible representative in the EU, the importer or the distributor. So we want to have really a common approach for all the different companies from Europe and from third countries. About the software, I will say that we are working with more and more products and different kind of services maybe in the future, but certainly here products when we are speaking about the right to repair. And on the basis of the different pieces again of the puzzle, we'll try to extend the duration. And of course, to give an example, in the proposal that we made about the empowerment of the consumer, we have had to give a clear information about the situation. If you have, to give an example, an update of your software, is it possible to be sure that you continue to have the same access to the same kind of applications on your laptop, to give an example, with the same software, or do you have a reduction of your possibilities to work, or do you have a reduction in other fields? And so it's very important to provide a clear information from the beginning to the consumer. So there we are working more in the empowerment of the consumer in the green transition with a clear information, a transparency about the consequence of the different updates of a software. Because now we have seen that with some software, you have a consequence without any information to the consumer at the beginning of the process.
Yeah, thank you. Probably I can quickly add from my perspective on that, that in the negotiations of the eco-design revision, some groups, for example, my group also had put forward proposals on expanding basically the lifetime of software updates to also really put it in the eco-design and not only giving more information to consumers, but it's still under negotiation. So at the moment, not clear where if this finds a majority in the parliament. So yes, I have a huge number of more questions, and I can already say, sorry, we cannot take them all, but we try to really take the ones that are ranked highest, that are interesting to most of you. So why only promoting repair within the legal guarantee if it's cheaper or has the same cost as replacement? Considering the current high price of spare parts, how is this changing the status quo? Then I have a question, but I believe you partially answered it already. What about companies which are not responsible for a product, like marketplaces or shops that sell second-hand products? Then I have another question. Do manufacturers also need to publish service information, e.g. manuals, in that end customers can use it to do repair by themselves? And yeah, probably given the time that is running out, I take two more questions, and that is probably then the final round, dear Commissioner, because you have, of course, a very busy day. So I take two more questions. How do you see the role of local and regional authorities, for example, in ensuring access to repair service or in the online matchmaking platform, which enables searches by location? So a very practical and concrete question. The last one is, will the EU be doing anything to regulate the trend to part pairing and serialization, which hinders repair as much as the reuse of used spare parts? So a lot of relevant and interesting questions, and I give you. Did you understand everything, or did you?
No, the last question,
Yeah. Will the EU be doing anything to regulate the trend to part pairing and serialization, which hinders repair as much as the reuse of used spare parts? So to my understanding, this practiced by, for example, big tech company that can only, where you have to go to the repairer of the company, because otherwise when you repair the product, it doesn't work anymore. So I understand the question like this.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I give you back the floor.
No, I was not sure that it was easy to understand the content of the questions. First of all, about the reason why we have limited the obligation to organize the repair for the same cost than the replacement is due to the fact that, of course, for the company, it will be possible to replace the product for the same cost than the reparation. That become to be very difficult to continue to ask for the reparation, and certainly for the consumers, except if the consumers want to pay more, maybe to pay something for the reparation. But if we have a lower cost with the replacement, it's quite logical that the company is putting into place a system when they are assuming their legal guarantee with the replacement and not with the reparation with a higher cost. But it will be with an effect, because in the question it was said it doesn't change anything. No, because for the moment I said 1/3 only of the consumers are going to the repair in the legal guarantee. So of course it's not due to the fact that 2/3 are up the cost of a replacement. So it's due to the fact that there are not enough incentive to go to the repair with such an obligation for the company to do that. So no, I'm sure that here, with the obligation for the company to go to the repair, if it's possible to do that technically, of course, and without a higher cost than the replacement, we'll have a huge shift of people going to the repair. We need also to convince, because you know that there are a lot of consumers, maybe less and less, but asking for the replacement because they prefer to have a new good than to use a repair product. So we need to convince them about what I've said about the advantage of the repair on environment, on different elements, but we need to convince them. And so with a lower cost or the equal cost than the replacement, it's fine. higher it will become to be more difficult. About the possibility for the consumers to repair by themselves, we ask to the same kind of approach for all. So it must be possible to provide the spare parts to the consumers, like to the repairers, independent repairers or repair cafe, like I've said. And it will be also important to provide all the different manuals, to be concrete, explaining how it's possible to repair. Of course, at the end, it's a choice. Or you are thinking that you are able to do that by yourself, or you are going to maybe also an independent repairer. That depends if you have the impression that it's possible for you to repair by yourself or not. But the conditions will be the same. And it's why I was asking to repeat the last question, because again, it will be an obligation for the producers to provide spare parts also to the repairers. So not to say you need to come to the producer to receive. It must be possible to give also the spare parts like the manuals and informations to independent repairers or to consumers. If a consumer asks the spare part to do it by himself, it's possible to do it. So that will change maybe the behavior of some kind of large companies. On the way to organize information, I said that we will ask to the member states to put into place platforms. It's already possible to have platforms in some member states just to indicate where are the repairers maybe in the country. But of course, if you have a large country, it's possible to organize the platform with different regional or local sections and to try to give a better information, because one of the important elements is not only the price, the duration of the reparation, maybe the fact that you have the same good at your disposal during the reparation, but it's also the location where it's possible to go to organize a deposit of your goods for the reparation. Because if you need to cross the country to do that, it's become to be very costly. And so maybe it's a good idea to see in the discussions with the member states how it will be possible for them to organize the platform at the national level, but of course with a clear geographical indication about regional and local presence of independent repairers or other actors. And saying that, on such a platform, it will be possible also to make a difference between the different incentives, because in some member states, I don't know exactly the situation in Germany, but if there are some possible competences at the regional level or the local level to provide incentives, why not? And it's not only tax incentives or subsidies. To give an example, I'm thinking that it's possible maybe for some local authorities to provide just some locations for independent repairers, to say we have some places maybe in all buildings and we want to give you the possibility to come in and to organize your business with such a support from the local authority. Why not? There are different possibilities, and that is possible to put on the platform. So you see that in the way to organize information, it's possible to do that at the local level, but it's also possible to provide a real support, a real incentive from the national level to the regional or the local level. And I know that there are some initiatives in such a way in different member states, and we'll try, of course, to exchange the best practices, and it will be a goal for the Commission to provide information to the member states about what are the best practices in the different member states, regional authorities, or local authorities about that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner Reynders. Unfortunately, your time is running out and you have to run. But yeah, thank you so much for answering all of our questions. I apologize to those of you who asked the question and we were not able to put, but there is more room for exchange. Commissioner Reynders mentioned it. He will come also next week to our committee, the Internal Market and Consumer Protection Committee. There will be an exchange with MEPs. And of course, as usually, these meetings are transparent and in the open, so you can also web stream them. And of course, we as parliamentarians are also open for your input and further questions. So you can also just write me or my colleagues. Yes, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank especially Commissioner Reynders for his time and for answering with such a patience all of our questions. And of course, also thanks for the team in the background who organized everything and the translators. So I wish you a very good afternoon and have a good week.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.